Hello everyone and welcome to part 3 of the Flappy Bird mobile game. In this tutorial, we will be creating a scoring system as well as death system. So the first thing we need to do is to create a new widget class for our gameplay widget. So let's go here, search for user widget, and let's call it gameplay widget. So now that our gameplay widget is created, we need to forward declare class view text block to display the score. And in public, we want a function to update the score. To update score text and parameter integer score. And in private, we want view text block score text, and let's give it a property view property meta equal bind widget. Great. Now to update our score text, we want to convert the integer to text. So if score text um, score text set text as number, and the number is score. Let's include the header here, components text block.h. Great. Now let's go into our player interface and create a function called die, and let's implement it in our character. So here, virtual void die override. Oops. Return to, oh, sorry, not die. Let's create a function, virtual void increment score equals 0. Okay, and let's copy this and include it here, override. And let's create a integer, so int score, to keep track of the score. Great. Now in here, we want the score plus plus. But however, we need, so sometimes, let me explain. Sometimes when we pass, so we agreed on last tutorial that whenever we pass this box, we get a +1 on the score, right? So sometimes we might pass this box, but instantly die, or we might die and just pass the box while we are dead. So this shouldn't count as a score because you are dead. So to fix this, we need to create a boolean be dead equal false. Oops. Okay, and maybe let's change this void to be boolean and change here as well, and in here as well. Increment score. So if we are not dead, score plus plus, this will increment the score by 1. And if um, okay, now after incrementing the score, we need to update the widget, right? So let's go to my game mode in here, and here we want to create, first let's forward declare u gameplay widget. So u property edit defaults u property defaults only, and category is equal to, let's say, UI. Now u gameplay, or no, the subclass of u gameplay widget, let's call it gameplay widget class, and u gameplay widget gameplay widget. So this will store the widget when you add it to viewport, this variable. Okay, now in our game model.cpp, in the begin play, if gameplay widget class gameplay widget is equal to create widget, let's include the header, u gameplay widget get word, and the class is gameplay widget class. If gameplay widget, we want to add it to viewport, gameplay widget add to viewport. Okay, great. Now we go into our game mode interface and we create a virtual u gameplay widget. Let's call it get gameplay widget reference will see. Okay, let's go into our Flappy Bird game mode.h in public. Let's override it. And return simply, or we don't need to create a definition for it. Just in the game mode here, return gameplay widget. That's simple. Okay. Now in our character header, don't worry about any of this red error thing. It's just visual. So here, let's create a variable of type uGameModeInterface. Let's call it GameModeInterface. Forward declare it here to avoid errors. uGameModeInterface. Now, in our CPP, in our begin play, we want to get a reference to this game mode. So, if get word a game mode base game mode equal get word get game mode. Now if game mode interface is equal, let's include the header here, game mode interface is equal to cast game mode interface, and the object is game mode. That's it. Now here, after we increment the score, we check if game mode interface is valid. Then game mode interface, we get um, this is okay. Here it should be I, not you, and here too, because interfaces always start with I. So now get gameplay widget reference and access it. We should first include the gameplay widget. Now we can access it and update score text, and the score is score. Okay, and after that we return true, and here we return false. So if it incremented successfully, we return true, and if it didn't, we will just return false. Okay, now um, in here, in our pipe obstacle, in here, we want to remove this G engine, and then the player interface uncomment this. So if we wrap this with an if statement, let's delete this, and if player interface increment score, if it returns true, then set the active tick enabled. Okay, now let's compile. And we get an error. And that's because in here we should include the game framework, game mode base, in our character class. Now let's go to content, C++ classes, create a blueprint based on the gameplay widget. Let's open it up, and the first thing we want to go to graph, let's default, no, not here, sorry, the blueprints, Flappy Bird game mode, and the UI, let's set it to gameplay widget underscore BP. And now we want a canvas panel. Let's set it to be equal to be a portrait orientation. Then let's get a text, add it here, center it in here, and alignment 0.5 on the X. Let's size it to content and set default text to 0 and uh, font here. Yeah, size maybe to 150. And let's take it down a little bit using the transform, the translation, like this. Like so. Now, we should name it score text to avoid error. Great. Now, let's give it an outline of 2, 3. And if you want, that's not necessary, but I would like to change the font of this. So go to this website here, thatfont.com, and you can download any font you want. Just make sure you read the license for it. And let's look for bubble. This one. Or is it this one? Yeah, it's game bubble. Okay, and click download. You can choose whichever font you want. So now I have it already, so I'm not going to download it. There it is. So let's import it. Go to content, new folder, we'll call it font, and make sure to import this true type font and click yes. Okay, now here in the font family, click on the bubble one, and there it is. Okay, and let's check it out now. Yep, it's working. Great. Now we want to add a sound to it. Okay, so I will add a link in the description for the sound. You can download it and use it. I will leave this link in the description. So go over here, click on the point, this one, and click download. Okay, I'm not going to download it because I already have it. So let's import it. Sound. Okay. Yep, that's it. And back here in our Flappy Bird character, we want to create a variable u sound base sound increment point sound. Let's give it u property of like this one. Let's copy paste it here. Okay, now in here in the increment score function, so if uh, is not dead and we score, if increment point score, increment, no, not this, u gameplay statics. We don't have it, so let's include it. Include xnet gameplay statics. U gameplay statics play sound 2D. This and the sound is increment point sound. Okay, now let's go to the editor and compile this. Go to our character class and look for parameters, and the increment point sound is this sound over here. Nice, it's working. Now let's add the death system. So first thing we need to do is to go to our game, to our player interface and create a function virtual void die equals 0. Let's close everything here that we don't need. this for now. Okay, and in here we want to override this. So virtual void die override. So when we die, if so, we need to set for this tutorial we are setting simulation for the cat for the mesh character for the character mesh. You are setting the physics to true, simulate physics. Okay, so we need the mesh. So if get mesh, first we need b dead is equal to true, so to prevent scoring when we are dead. Then we need to get the mesh, set the collision enabled to e collision enabled query and physics. Okay, then simulate physics. So set simulate physics true. Okay, and um, that's it, I guess, for now, if I'm not mistaken. Mm, yeah, that's it for now. So let's go to pipe obstacle. Where is it? Here. And uncomment this. Also go to ground and uncomment this. And let's remove this. We don't need it. And this. Okay. Let's compile. Okay, let's test it. Great. So if we die, we are dead. Okay, we can't jump anymore because we have physics enabled, so we can't launch the character anymore. So it's basically like disable input, right? Okay, but when we die, we need to stop the pipes from moving. So to do that, we need to go to our game mode interface and let's create a function called stop pipes movement movement to 0 and go to our game mode. Let's paste and add override. So how to solve the pipes? We have a pipe obstacles array that holds all our pipes, right? So we need to do a for loop to run through each one, and for each one we need to deactivate the movement component. So for a actor pipe actor inside the pipe obstacles array. Um, so the array is of type actor, and right now we cannot access the pipe obstacle class. So we need to cast first. So a pipe obstacle is equal to cast a pipe obstacle, and the cast object is pipe actor. If we cast it successfully, if pipe obstacle, we need to create a function inside of it. Let's go here and declare a function in the public. It's called void deactivate movement component. Okay, and if movement component deactivate. Now we go back into our game mode, and here deactivate movement component. That's it. Now let's go back to our character class. Where we die here. We die here. So if game mode interface, game mode interface, stop pipes movement. Let's check it out now. If we die, yep, the pipe movement is deactivated, the component. Nice. Now it's good to have the player stay in the screen always, so when he dies, the camera must follow him. Right now, if you remember, we have the camera detached, right? And we kept it in the word as word transfer. But now we need to uh, get this camera and always keep it in the player, at the player, okay? So to do that, let's go to our character. Let's close everything here. We don't need it. Oh, not literally everything. We need the character. So let's create a function float enter speed equal to, and let's go here to our die. Let's set the actor tick enable to true, okay, and make sure this is true also. And in the begin play, where is it? In the begin play, let's set it to false. Okay. Now in the tick event, we want to get the target location, and it's equal to vector. On the X, we want the mesh location, the mesh and not the actor. So component location dot X, only the X. And for the Y and Z, we need the spring arm location. So spring arm get component location dot Y dot Y and dot Z also, dot Z also. Okay, that's our target location. Now we need the current location. So F vector current location is equal to spring arm get component location. So that's the current location of the spring arm. Now the new location, F vector new location is equal to F math interpolate v interpolate for vector interpolate to. So we start at the current location and the target location is target location and the delta time is delta time, this one, and the speed, last parameter is speed, is we defined it earlier, enter speed. Okay, so and spring arm set relative location new location. Okay, this should be it. Oh, come on. Okay. Let's check it out. So when we die, yeah, it's working, but we weren't knocked back, sadly. Yep. Now it always follows the player, the mesh. Great. Now last, we need to add a restart button, lastly in this tutorial. So let's close this, and let's go to gameplay widget and forward declare view button. and u property meta equal bind widget u button restart button, and we need a function to restart, so void restart game. Okay, and then here if button or no, not really. Let's go also and virtual void native construct. We are overriding the construct event. Oops. Okay. Let's also class I game mode interface because we will need it to restart the game. So here I game mode interface, game mode interface, and here, as usual, let's include game mode interface and include game mode, game framework, game mode base. So if get word a game mode base game mode, let's wrap this with an if because why not? So game mode interface is equal to cast I game mode interface game mode. If game mode interface game mode interface restart game. Okay, now we don't have it. Let's go and define it. Virtual void and simply restart game. Now, if you don't have this function here in the restart game, or no, wait, let's call it something else here. Uh, let's call um, it game restart. Okay, not restart game. So go back here, change this, and change this. So restart. Now we call restart game. The reason for that is because before it might override this function and we might get errors. So this function is built in to restart the game. Okay. So here now in our gameplay, restart game is not working because it's game restart. Nice. Now in our native construct, we want to bind the button. So where is it? Restart button. Let's include the button. Include components button.h. So restart button on clicked on clicked dot add dynamic this u gameplay widget restart game. Okay, let's compile. Let's go to our widget and add the button. Let's add it somewhere here or here and 0 0 0.5. Size of the content, this one, and let's give it a translation upwards somewhere here, maybe. Okay, let's call it restart button. Now you are free to design it the way you want, but I'm gonna import some two images and design it with them. So let's go to content, go here, textures, and import it. It's actually one button, not two. So let's go here now into style, normal, and let's set the draw as rounded box and the fixed radius to half height radius. And let's get an image and insert here and change the image to this brush to this image. Let's scale it a little bit down, so maybe 100 by 100 or 200, 200. Now the restart button, let's make it 200, 200 or 300 by 300. Yeah, it's nice. And let's change some of its colors. So outline, make it black, give it 20 or 10, 10 is good, yeah. Change the tint to blue. Okay, let's copy paste this here and here. Maybe change the tint on hovered a little bit more and on pressed a little bit lighter. Now this way, it's nice. Let's change the visibility of it to be hidden by default because we don't want it visible when we start the game. And here in our gameplay widget, we want a function. So void, actually let's do it in public. So void show restart button, and then here if restart button set visibility slate visibility visible, and when we die in our character class in here we want to get the gameplay widget and to show restart button. Let's try it out. Okay, if we die the button is visible, and if we click on it nothing's happened. um, because I think in here, yeah, this restart game should be a U function because you are binding it to a key. So U function, otherwise it will not work. Okay. Also, this button is very high. Let's make it somewhere here. So if we die and click on restart, it's gonna restart. See? So restart. Great. So that's it for this tutorial, guys. We now have a scoring system and a death system and also restart button. Great. So see you next in the next tutorial where we will be implementing a save game high score system and Maybe if it won't be so long, we will be also adding a main menu. So whenever we open the game for the first time, we have this tap to start animation here, and when we tap, we start the game. If not, we will do it in another and the last part of the series. So see you then and take care. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you have any questions for me.